Good evening, everyone. I am your host, Jason Miles, and welcome to another episode of This is Revolution podcast. Maybe I should say, welcome to a special episode of This is Revolution podcast. The Gen Xer in me loves the special episode. That meant that someone was probably going to get touched on TV. Who remembers a special episode of Different Strokes where Arnold and Dudley went to the bike shop, or drugs were involved? It was drugs or something like that. If it was a very special episode, this is a very special episode because I wanted to stream this live because of our guest. They do have a pretty decent sized internet presence, and I'm sure people will want to interact with them. And I did have the post that it was going to be at a different time, so I'm sure it's going to take a minute for people to get here. But I'm excited for our guest today. He makes these really cool video essays. I hope you guys checked some of them out. I linked it in the description for the show, wherever you're watching or will be listening. Let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of This Revolution podcast, where we delve into the complexities and absurdities of our modern world. Today, we have a special guest who thrives at the intersection of satire and social commentary. YouTube essayist Jreg. Known for his sharp wit and keen insight into the chaotic nature of political discourse, Jreg has carved out a unique space in the digital landscape, challenging us to reconsider our perspectives through humor and satire. With a channel that explores everything from the radicalization of political ideologies to the nuances of internet culture, Jreg's work invites us to reflect on that absurdity of the systems that govern our lives. As we navigate through these turbulent times, his content resonates with a growing audience seeking clarity and comedic relief amidst the noise. Today, we'll explore Jreg's creative process, his views on the current state of political discourse, and the role of satire in shaping public opinion. Please welcome, coming all the way live from a hidden bunker somewhere in the great north that is Canada, please welcome Jreg.
Hello.
How are you?
I watched that opening and I felt something swelling in my heart. Swelling. It was a cool opening. I'm starting to think that you guys over here are left of center. I'm getting that vibe.
No, it's just I wanted to play heavy music, and that was my middle finger to music that was irritating me at the time that I wrote it in 2017 and played it, recorded it.
The intersection of satire and social commentary. I like that one. I'm on intersection of so many things. Intersection of internet and art. I like that one too. When people say that.
Internet and art? The internet can't
on the intersection of art and culture, something like that. I love being on as many intersections as possible.
So you're all about intersectionality.
My favorite. Well, I'm an intersectionalist specifically. Oh, I see you can do that on the show. Wow, that's new for me. Bank and Third, Good intersection. I stand in the middle of the street there, just hoping.
Oh, you're just hoping someone recognizes you?
Yeah. I'm like, hello, or runs me over by accident. It's a win-win.
There's
an ego boost. Or
there's a famous person that I shall not name, as I was told not to say who they are, that stood on the corner. Here, I'll type it in our private chat.
Okay.
This is you and I's private chat. The audience can't see this.
We should just type a private chat between us.
Trust me, there's a lot of shows where there's a lot of private chat between us.
We should the entire show just be us like typing to each other and then be like, it's got to be a really good viewing.
That's got to be the smuggest show ever. I don't know if I have that in me to do that. But that person apparently would stand on a corner and wait to get recognized.
Damn.
Where they taught at the time.
Damn. In one of my darker moments, this was maybe like 6 months after I started doing well on YouTube. I was really depressed, and I walked into a mall, and I just started making eye contact with young men age 18 to 24. And I just waited for it to happen. And it actually worked. It worked a couple times. Good for the ego.
You made eye contact with them and they looked away, or
Well, like 89, well, 95, 99% of the time they look,
Uh-huh.
they don't. I can kind of like, I can kind of sense a fan of mine based off their physiognomy.
Oh, okay. So this is interesting. So your videos, if you have videos where you actually show full shots of yourself, but still, I have no idea how tall you are, and you can make it. You can tell me exactly how tall you are, and I still wouldn't believe you, right?
Mhm.
And I do think people do look different in real life. And as we were talking about doing live shows, I do a lot of live shows with people in this internet space that we exist in, and I have been shocked at how tall certain people are or aren't.
Mhm.
Um, do people recognize you off bat? And if so, do you get that? Oh, I thought you'd be bigger. Oh, I thought you'd be shorter. Oh, I thought. Do you get that?
People normally are like, "Oh, I thought you'd be shorter," because I give off small yappy man energy in my videos, like. So they're always a little surprised by my height. I'm 8'4". Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I'm kind of a giant. People always say, "Wow, you're so much taller and more handsome in person." And ladies, if you're watching this, it's all true. And DMs open.
Oh, Jesus Christ. On a mildly serious note, can you there's a little piece of me that wants to explore that you getting recognized in person more. Maybe we'll put a pin in that and hit that a little later in this conversation.
I'm an open
Uh,
book.
Everybody's an open book till you really start opening that book and it's like, hey, the footnotes were closed. Uh, can you tell me a little bit about your creative process and how you come up with your videos?
Yeah.
And there was, and I'll add a little addendum to this question that one of the people that work on the show, Stefan, wanted to know. How do you constantly continue to reinvent your vibe as to continue appearing schizo while in the end being a YouTuber who needs to appeal to the audience that you built?
Yeah. So my creative process, I've got a few different answers for
Mhm.
that. One is my ideas come from this guy I keep in my basement. He's got tape over his mouth. He's always squirming around. And I go over and I rip the tape off and I'm like, what's my idea this week? And he often blurts out something like, fetishes on the political compass. Put the fetishes on the political compass. 1 million views on youtube.com. And I slap him around and I give him his water. But the actual answer is mostly suffering. I just suffer a lot.
Oh,
And
geez.
and
That is,
eventually I
I
get
wasn't
better to
expecting
myself.
such an emo answer.
Yeah, well, I'm an emo kind of guy. You'll learn that about me quickly. That's one of the first things I said to you. You're
Is
like,
that is that
I
is that
was
is
like,
there you have a
no.
is behind the green screen a My Chemical Romance banner?
That's too Gen X for me to understand what you just said. Uh, I'm not. I don't even. To be fair, I don't even know what emo means. We don't have the word emo. We have schizo. This
Mhm,
is Gen Z slang.
mhm.
Schizo. Taxi driver core. Joker-esque. Yes, I'm Joker-esque. I'm not emo. I'm
Taxi
Joker-esque.
Wait, you say Taxi Driver like the movie with De Niro?
Yeah, but again, I'm Gen Z. I haven't watched it. I only know it from memes that have been downspersed through the Gen
Oof,
X. So
oof.
again, I'm protecting my Gen Z cred here.
That's even more sad. So you're gonna say, "I don't understand emo," which comes out in the 2000s, but I wanna
Too old.
reference Taxi Driver, which happened, what, 73?
Only because Taxi Driver exists in the literally me memes. That's the important.
Okay,
That's the important thing.
okay.
And then the addendum question. Wait,
Here, I'll
was
ask it again. I'll ask it
yeah,
again,
yeah.
because it was a good question. Let me pull it up. Sorry. Um, how do you constantly continue to reinvent your vibe as
Mhm.
to continue appearing quote unquote schizo
Yeah.
while in the end being a YouTuber who needs to appeal to the audience that you built?
Attention deficit disorder. I
Okay.
can't focus on being one thing for very long.
Okay.
It makes me bored, and then I got to do something else. So it comes out of a natural inclination to want to do that.
Mhm,
Obviously, some topics I'll go back to
mhm.
from a different lens, but yeah, like No one. First of all, if you're a YouTuber, you've got a shelf life of 2 years max
Why do you
before
think
people get
that?
bored of you.
Why do you think
Um,
that?
why do I think that?
Yeah.
Because we get bored of people, and then when we get bored of them, we have to make up reasons why we don't like them morally. This is what's
Hmm.
happening to lots of people right now. You know,
Hmm.
it's like, aha, morally this person's bad because I stopped watching them 2 years ago. It could just be you got bored of them. That's fine. But yeah, so you gotta constantly reinvent yourself to stay
That's that.
fresh.
I find that interesting, and seriously, I find that interesting because we're living in a current moment where, from the pop culture world, and this is all kind of pop culture, right? We can fancy ourselves media revolutionaries if we like to, but ultimately, where do we really fall? But when I think of television shows and the runs they've had over the last 20 years, and then really in the last 15, shows like Always Sunny in Philadelphia are still on. Granted, Family Guy and like The Simpsons and South Park are still running, but that's animated and that's slightly different. But still, even animated series running so long seems insane. Um, I feel like we live in a bubble now with streaming that we didn't have with cable and even regular network television, where you don't really have to constantly produce new product every season. I don't even know now when seasons start or end for television because of the streaming world and for the fact that I can constantly see things as comfort food that I watched years ago. I would love to know how much bandwidth a show like The Office takes up on the average 8 o'clock for people in the evening, because it's one of those shows that has been off the air, I think, longer than it was on the air. But still, there's, we're going to talk about meme culture. There's still memes from The Office. People are still watching these old episodes of The Office. It never had spinoffs. Um, but you're saying that in the internet world,
In my world,
in the internet world,
in the
and I
youth
and I have
world,
seen, and I have fallen down certain internet rabbit holes of people that I've seen. I would even peripherally, right? Because I try to keep my feed filled with things that I personally like. So ninja movies, horror, and music that I dig. But every so often I'll get, videos like yourself. And there was another woman who, to your point, is falling Illuminati.
yeah.
There was a bunch of drama with that person as well. Why do you think that is, that in this particular realm, the shelf life is that of a pop star, maybe?
Mm.
Even musically, and I'm not saying this as a diss to your country's biggest positive export, Drake. That's a person that stayed on the musical hip hop landscape for like over 15 years. Kanye West is still a tastemaker, if you will, in hip hop,
Mhm.
almost 20 years in the game.
Mm.
So why in these other realms can people have longer shelf lives, and you think in this one particular world it's so short?
Oh God, I've never had that posit that I just made interrogated ever. Okay, let me make something up. I think that the way that we look at this computer screen
Mhm.
17 hours a day, and by we I obviously just mean me, gives us attention deficit disorder of the fake kind, of the non-real kind. And then we get bored of everybody so easily because you always have to be entertaining them. That's your job all the time. You have to be as stimulating as possible. It's no coincidence that Mr. Beast is the top streamer right now. It's because he grabs you, and he makes you look at him, and then that's what you have to do. And if you can't, if we come to you and it's too expected, and it's like bleh. And you're not making series anymore. To your point, you're
Yeah.
not making one album a year. You're not making one video every year. You're not making an entire series every 2 years, like an episode of a season of a series every 2 years. Now you're making a video every day, and you better
Yeah.
crank out that slop, or else you're not going to be able to literally make a living on the platform that you exist on. And so probably some combination of all the things I just said, because that's a good way of getting out of me having to tie that together into a cohesive conclusion.
Well, I mean, let's you said you're an open book. So
I'm an
let's
open
let's
book.
let's go. It's a long book,
Every
right?
page has a closed book drawn on by hand.
I do think this is an interesting thing that you said, and you don't have to have the answers, right? Because we can have a discussion without having, you know, definitive answers. But I do think you're onto something when you talk about this world and the fact that people, not everybody, feels the need to produce quote unquote content. And what happens when you look at things that used to be artistic and we just call it content? So for example, maybe you know this, maybe you don't. Patreon was started by a failed musician. And when it was originally rolling out, he was hitting up all the musicians and going, "Hey, I got this cool way for you to make money when you're not on the road. It's called Patreon, and you'll have fans pay you, and you can give them extra stuff and blah blah blah." I always saw that as not the smartest move for a musician because it takes so much time. If you're mildly serious about what you do, it takes a while to write a song, even if you're recording everything in your house. As someone that makes videos in your studio, it still takes a minute for a video to come together, right? You have to write a script, shoot it, edit it. That doesn't take an hour or 2 hours. It takes more, sometimes all night, right? That being said, if you're doing this every day, there's a burnout factor. Do you and the people that you make videos with, do you guys give yourselves rest periods and say we're blacked out the last 2 weeks of the month or the last month of the year, or we're going to do videos, we're going to treat this like a television season and run for 9 months? No? Okay.
No, 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 no. Don't be ridiculous. It's all grind all the time here. I was burned out 3 years ago. Now,
Okay.
the burnout is not the right word for it. It's like the ashes have crystallized into it's a rock now. It's like
Okay.
a solid thing. It's like something was there and then was burned, and now it's like reconfigured itself because it was so hot for so long, and now it's fine. I just looped back around. The people here, we don't burn out until we don't really take breaks until we're forced to, until the break takes us, and that's because
Meaning, are you talking about like literal stress?
yeah, stress, or a video doesn't, a video doesn't perform well, and then it's a night of angst and dread
Uh-huh.
and going on benders and stuff. That's
As you
the
wipe your
YouTube life.
nose.
That's the YouTube lifestyle.
But that is I live near another person that does this. His name is Ben Burgess, and we're neighbors here in Mexico, and he actually does it like seasons, and he schedules breaks for himself, and we try to do breaks here, but kind of to your point, and the same thing I dealt with being a small time musician was I'd never had the luxury of having a team behind me that says, this is your record, this is your tour cycle on said record, here's all your press you're going to do for said record, then you're going to go home, you're going to rest, you're going to write a new record, and the cycle starts again. It was like the moment you aren't in front of people, they're going to forget you. So you have to go, 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 go. But we never we never toured on a record that, like, we'd only go out if we had a record coming out. So we'd actually stay home and try to write something that we really dug. And I never looked at music as content. And I don't like that term content because it feels real generic. But there is something extremely generic about, and I don't like to think of things in generational terms too much, but there's a moment that we're in right now where people feel the need to blurt out content, be it music, especially be it these videos, because of the Patreon model, because I think it does make more sense for this world, because I can give you extra stuff a lot easier here. I can cut a show in half and say, you want to see the rest of it? It's going to be behind this paywall on Patreon, opposed to, hey, you want a song that we weren't going to put on the record because it fucking sucked? I mean, I can't keep people caring about me if that's the way I see the world. And I can't also go out and do the touring that I need to do if I'm constantly creating music for the couple hundred people that want to be want to be patrons.
Mm.
Do you hate the term content when it refers to what you do? Because I don't think you throw out generic stuff that you don't care about. From what I've seen, it looks like there's a lot of thought behind everything you're doing.
Yeah, I'd say I try to make art,
Mhm.
but sometimes you have to make content that people will watch in order to fund the art. So I sort of have a bit of a slop art dichotomy. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? It's time to create some slop for the pigs. I wake up and I get my slop tray ready, and I'm like, the pigs are gonna love this one. And then I put fetishes on the political compass. And then but then there's stuff that I make which is high art, which is like I work with an animator on a song that I wrote, and I work
Mhm.
with the producer, and we make a full animated music video, and that's cool too. And Do I hate content? I obviously I hate the word content when it refers to me, because I'm not.
Mhm. Because you haven't gotten to where you want to get to yet.
No, I'm just not content.
Here, let me ask you a serious question then. There's I saw your followers, and you have a lot more subscribers and view content than I do, but I know that there's still, of course, larger channels than yours. Um, and there's this point of where you get to be content, right? Like at what point are you, I don't want to say stop hustling, but the drive doesn't have to be so severe to quote unquote make it. Um, I'm assuming you don't feel you've quote unquote made it. What for you would be the sign where you're like, okay, I'm officially a thing?
I want one of these evil tech billionaires to give me a drop of techno capital. And then I'll do whatever. If they want me to be like pro organ harvesting for babies or whatever, I'll just be like, hey guys, Jreg here, baby organ harvesting, and then I'll retire. And no, I don't really. I never want. I don't know. I think this is dispositional with me, because no matter what stage of my life I've been in, and no matter what I've done, I've always felt like life or death kind of vibes because of the high neuroticism and the violent mental illness. So
But can you feel life or death vibes when all the bills are paid
I
and
probably will.
you're not worried about like how, when you're not worried about maybe 2 months down the road or 3 months down the road, you're like, we're good. We're good for the next 2 years right now.
I want to say that if that happened, then I
Mhm,
would like be content. But knowing myself, I feel like if you put me in that position,
mhm.
give me like a year, and I'll be in this exact same emotional state, um, just whining and whimpering.
Will your wine be different again?
It'll be more posh, like upper class, like
You'll be like Jordan Peterson whining?
yeah, I'll be like. Look, that's a good example. Jordan Peterson has all of his bills paid
All of
forever,
his bills are paid.
and he's let me look at him.
He's crying more now than he ever did before.
So clearly, not. I mean, I know we're all off left here. We're all anti-capitalist, authoritarian
Sure,
left wingers.
sure, sure.
But maybe I just know that if you gave me a lot of money, I'd
You
probably
don't think it
whine
would change?
and cry and complain. Actually, maybe I would afford therapy instead of uh, using this live stream as a way of getting it for free.
There's a show, maybe you know it, maybe you don't. Do you know who the actor David Cross is?
Yes.
Do you know who, Bob Odenkirk is?
Yes.
They used to have a show together in the '90s called Mr. Show. Are you familiar with it?
I've heard that name before.
Um, you can get your hands on it. It's on Amazon, and you probably can find episodes on YouTube. But, there's a character that David Cross has there was a show in the States back in the '80s and '90s called Cops, and they did a spoof on Cops where he was this character named Ronnie Dobbs, and he's a white, we call it white trash guy that always gets busted by the police. And Bob Odenkirk plays this kind of auteur director that is taken by Ronnie Dobbs, um, the way he gets taken by police, and so he wants to constantly show him all over the country getting arrested by police. And eventually, Ronnie Dobbs becomes a celebrity to the point where the police are taking pictures with him, even when he's doing like getting busted with coke all over him and like spousal abuse. Um, and it's funny because I think there's a point where no matter what you do, if someone has the power to go here, your problems are gone, it really changes the way you approach everything. And there is this idea that people have of making it right. Like there's someone that looks at you and goes, "What is that dude complaining about? He's made it." And we all know behind it, like, dude, I don't know what you think making it is, but I still have these problems. I'm still sitting here hustling, doing these videos. I'm not just doing it because you want it. I'm doing it because I need to, because it's my life now. Da, 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 da. What happens when that day comes where it's like, and again, you don't have to know, right? But I'm sure you think about that day sometimes. I'm sure you guys joke about that day sometimes.
Yeah.
Would you try to step away from this and maybe go the behind the scenes route and produce shows like yours?
If I had money, I would probably spend it on making other people's artistic ventures happen.
Mm, mm,
And we I don't know. I feel like I would still kind of be doing roughly the same thing, but probably on a bigger scale. Like I'd throw all my money into just doing more weird performance art shit that I couldn't do unless I had money. But I needed that cope that I had, that money wouldn't make me happy. And
mhm.
you've reintroduced it into my mind, and now I'm thinking money would make me happy, which has made me deeply unhappy. So
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Paul Stanley once said, having money. What did he say? He goes, "Money doesn't make you happy. It's just the fact you can pay your bills makes you happy."
Hmm.
Like, oh, there's something about that, Paul Stanley.
Yeah.
How do you see the role of satire in today's political climate? Do you think it can drive real change, or is it primarily a tool for critique that fuels apathy?
That one.
I had someone I think you know as well, Joshua Citrelia, on the show.
Joshua Citarella, my
Citarella.
second
I've been
mentor.
saying his name. I've been saying Josh's name
Well,
wrong
look,
every
either you've
time.
been saying it wrong or I've been saying it wrong.
I think I say it wrong, and please tell Josh that I love his work, and I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna text him right now.
Text him right now and say Jason Miles from TIR said your name wrong once again, but he appreciates the fact that you've been in the gym.
Jason Miles said your name wrong, but he appreciates the fact that you're in the gym. Sent. All right, the message has been passed on to my second mentor, Joshua Citarella. Great guy.
Yes, yes, really appreciate what he's doing by documenting this moment in time, because I think there is a lot of older people that kind of look at this as almost a passe moment,
Hmm.
but there's something to be said about these extreme um, identities that younger people feel the need to form. It also feels interesting to me that people feel they need to have their identities so concrete at such young ages.
Yep.
So, how do you handle satire in this it's a very serious moment that we're in with a lot of people. So, how does it work for you?
Well, it is a very serious moment.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't know if my satire is necessarily funny, uh, given how much pain I'm in all the time. Maybe it's working within that pain to
Mhm.
sort of try to relate to people on the fact that we're all kind of scared and confused. But I think satire. We talk a lot about people with really strong frames, like the 14-year-olds who are monarcho, socialist,
Yeah.
fascists,
Yeah.
and anarchists.
With Chinese characteristics.
Chinese characteristics.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those people. Don't get me wrong, but there's really two options that you have as a young person on the internet.
Sure.
One, you just pick one of these ideological frames, whichever
Mhm.
one sticks out to you, and then you grasp onto that and hold it like a shield against the torrent of noise. I call that the autism path. Or two, you just go insane and you let it all in, and you get the trans perspective masturbation of just I don't know, man, everything at once. Those people exist too, and those are what we call centrists, and they're bad.
Okay, so you call those people centrists? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you call the people with the crazy political perspectives that are I'm an army of one?
Like the people whose political perspectives are so niche that they can't make
So
any.
niche. They just want to, and I think a lot of people, even if you fancy yourself a Marxist Leninist, let's say, um, a lot of people I see that fancy themselves in some political spectrum really want to be an army of one.
Yeah.
Um,
You see that in the Marxist Leninist front?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, fuck yeah. So many people want to be an army of one. I'm like, I don't.
Well, that's because you're like maybe you're like a Marxist Leninist Hoxaist Maoist,
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
or maybe you're part of Juche Gang.
Uh,
Juche Gang. That's the North Korea one. But okay, but there's infighting in any quadrant, in any political sphere. Like you see it a lot on the Marxist Leninist front, probably because you're close to that sphere. If you're closer to the libertarian sphere, there's lots of infighting there, and the anarchist sphere. There's transhuman anarchists, and there's queer anarchists, and there's there's anarcho-capitalists, anarcho-communists. There's infighting everywhere, and I feel like that's because the creators of the political compass were libertarians, and they wanted to divide the working class by creating these divisions with ideological labels. And they flooded the market with as many political spectrums as possible so that you would never be able to organize and destroy the real enemy, which is Peter Thiel, who is not the real enemy, because I want some Thiel bucks, please. Can you give me a drop of the techno capital?
Oh, you might be too old for Peter Thiel.
Oh, yeah, it's
If you were
true.
a 21-year-old wonderkind,
Yeah.
then maybe.
I'm past my prime. He doesn't want my blood anymore. But I can give him a fluid even more valuable than my blood.
That's whoa.
Because I nut quick.
You still there? Yeah, there's a lot of drops on this soundboard. There's a lot of drops. What are the more absurd aspects of modern political discourse that you feel compelled to address through your work?
What are the more absurd elements? I mean, it's all. I think
Like, did you ever scroll through social media and go, "Fuck is this?"
I scroll through social media and I'm like, yes. Like,
I was just feeding the beast.
yeah, I like everything I see. It's all insane. But I look at I'm an ideological person. I like ideology. It interests me. My brain's pretty disconnected. So when people organize their thoughts really clearly, that fascinates me. I like to hang around those people and kind of like learn from them as my opposite. It's also just less interesting to be more disconnected like I am. And that's but it allows me on a meta level to connect people like I'm doing in the studio who have varied political beliefs from all over the spectrums. And we all get together because we're all internet weirdos. What was the question?
What are the more absurd aspects of modern political discourse?
I think I'm
that you feel that you need to address through your
I
work.
don't know how politics works. I've been doing this for a while, and I still don't really know. I did some canvassing for Jamal Bowman like a couple months ago in the States.
Oh, word.
That was just an attempt to try to understand how politics works. And from what I understand, pretty boring, like actual politics.
Yeah.
You go knock on doors and shit. Boring. I don't see how that's going to get views for my YouTube channel. So, yeah, I don't, I think there's this, I think the main absurd thing for me is like, I don't understand how anyone does stuff or how anything works. And I've been trying to figure that out for like 5 years, and I still don't really feel like I get it.
And so let's go back to this canvassing thing. So you're going canvassing for Jamal Bowman. That's a hard job. That means you're knocking on doors for people that don't want you to knock on their door, right?
Yeah.
And generally you're going to be met with a little bit of animosity. Sometimes you'll have conversations with people. And the interactions you have with people, it's probably like what 1 out of 10 doors you're actually talking to somebody. And out of those 1 out of 10, maybe 10% of those are going to be decent conversations.
Yeah.
Of the decent conversations you had, did you feel you were talking to people that were already going to vote for Bowman? Did people not know about this election? Was that a common theme? And when you were met with animosity, was your reaction shock, or was your reaction to go into your rebuttals that they give you?
I was doing this a little idiosyncratically in the sense that I didn't really do any research about Jamal Bowman before I started canvassing for him. I just sort of made up a bunch of positions in my head. I knew that he was the most anti-Israel candidate, so that's why I was there, and I was really playing into that because I was around a bunch of progressives. So I would always be like, okay, this guy wants to destroy Israel. That's what I'm going into this door knocking situation with that. And then when I was talking to all these boomers and I was saying I didn't go off. I'm not very good at following instructions. So I was like, he wants to destroy Israel, yada, yada.
You were telling people that. So you're the reason why he lost.
I might have contributed. I might have lost like 5 to 10 votes. I was definitely, I was a net negative. Let's just say that.
Did they know you? Did they know you as a YouTube person, or you just went there as?
They invited me down as a YouTube person.
So really?
It's on them.
They invited the campaign invited you.
Yes, the campaign invited me. And
you're being serious. You're not effing with me right now.
No, they should have known I would do that. I would have done that shit.
So, for you, was it more of, and I would be as honest as you feel you can be. Was it more content for you? Or was this really something that you were serious about? Like, hey, I really dig this guy's politics. And
I genuinely liked his politics because he was the farthest left candidate of a center. Like he was against a center candidate.
Yeah.
And it was the Democratic primary. And I'm an anti-centrist. So I believe that I would do the same thing for a far right guy if he was running against a centrist status quo neoliberal. So yes, I would say it was a learning experience first and foremost. And I actually wasn't even going to go, but my mentors suggested I go. So that was what tipped me off, because they were like, you should probably learn how politics works.
Okay.
Chronically positing in this.
Were you behind the scenes at the campaign at all, or you didn't care to
I did some marketing for them and stuff. And I got out some of my followers to help with the door knocking. Actually, wait. Counting the people I brought, I was probably a net positive.
Okay, so you brought a good amount of people to help knock on doors.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you are not from the States.
No, that was foreign election interference. I don't know how I got away with that shit.
and you're in a foreign city, but I don't know how much you went to New York as a young person. Not very, I'm assuming.
Not very. No, okay. I've only been to New York twice, and that was in the last 2 months.
Okay. So was that your first time in New York?
That was my first time in New York. Although we were in
what is this district?
We were closer to Yonkers. We were in Yonkers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So you're in Yonkers, and you've never been to New York before. Oh wow, this is really interesting. And you're knocking on doors for Jamal Bowman. What was the common thing that people said to you?
A lot of people were like, "Oh, I'm familiar with Jamal's record, and I'm not interested." Yada yada. I don't know. Some people were like, "I'm already voting for him." Some people were like, the vast majority of people just didn't want to talk and didn't open the door. That's just how it goes.
Do you think there's a difference where you're from?
The only campaigning or political action I've done in Canada is when I was running for mayor of Ottawa on an Ottawa wall strategy, where I was going to build a big wall around Ottawa and give everybody a universal basic government job. And
what is the basic government job that they
get? You just get a stupid job where you shuffle around papers for an hour a day and you get paid for 8 hours. That's what everyone in that town does anyway. So I figure, everyone should be entitled to that job. Anyway, I did door knocking for that too, and I gave that pitch. And of all the doors I knocked, there was one woman who said she was going to vote for me. So
When you were running for office, how much of it was a Andy Kaufman-esque gag, and how much of it was like, no, I seriously want to win?
Well, I did want to win, and I did win, but they stole the election from me, the deep state.
Mhm.
So I did win, and I crowned myself the anarcho monarch of Ottawa afterwards.
The anarcho monarch, you said?
Yes,
Okay.
unofficial, but the king. And sometimes people stop me on the street and they're like, "You're my mayor," when I'm in Ottawa. Uh, but yeah, I was like, obviously it was partially an Andy Kaufman thing. Although I'm fairly serious about my jokes. I can't remember the last time I told a joke that was just a joke. Um, so yeah, there's always a sort of neurotic reality to whatever I'm doing.
Um, your content attracts a diverse audience. How do you balance making I'm sorry, I keep saying content. Your videos attract a diverse audience. How do you balance making videos that are accessible yet thought provoking? And have you ever been surprised by the reactions to your videos, either positively or negatively?
Diversity is my strength. That's what I always say. I want the far right, the far left, and the far up, but not the middle. Never the middle.
Why do you want the
Um,
far right?
what?
Why do you want the far right?
Because they're extreme as you can get, and I'm trying to build bridges here. I'm trying to build bridges between everybody except the people in the middle. So
So
get
you
it?
want to build a bridge over people in the
Yes.
middle that would probably be more sympathetic with people that would definitely hate you.
I don't know if they would hate me. I think they would appreciate me until they got in power and then killed me. So it's like like Destiny. He's a centrist. He has a podcast called Bridges, and the idea there is we're bridging people together. But the implicit thing there is we're bridging people together in the middle. And what we want to do is we want to bridge people together on the edges and build a big, kind of a U-shaped bridge, and then we all walk over and we go, mwah, we kiss each other, and the people in the middle the bridge collapses and kills them all. So there's a lot of parts of that question that I've glossed over.
I can ask it again. um, you do attract a diverse audience. I think the diversity of your audience, you probably agree, are different of these kind of niche ideologies in left spaces. You read your comments, or maybe you don't, so if there's actually people that say things that are more far right. How serious do you think "quote unquote" far right ideologies are on the internet, opposed to far right people in real life?
How serious are they? Like, what do you mean? Like, do you think that are they LARPing?
Yeah. Do you think people are pretending? Not I don't want to say pretending, because I think that might be a little belittling.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a difference between Timothy McVeigh and the people that helped him. And if you don't know who he is, he's the guy that was one of the people that orchestrated the bombing of the Oklahoma City Federal Building that killed a few hundred people. He was a far right white nationalist. Um, there's a huge difference between him and the people that helped organize that whole event, because it wasn't like he did it alone. And maybe someone that calls me the N-word online, right? They're not the same person.
Mm-hmm.
How many of the far right, like seriously, how many people that would call themselves far right positively watch what you do, opposed to people that may have crazy niche ideologies?
There's a lot of crazy niche ideologies in the far right, and I think if there's anything's unifying all these diverse groups in my audience, it's probably some sort of mental illness or
Okay.
some sort of screen addiction or some sort of like feeling atomized or alone. That's why I'm on this community kick right now. It's like seeing that a lot of these people they think these things because they have no friends or family. But how serious is it? It's serious, and it's going to become more and more real as time goes on, and those people are going to manifest more and more in the world. It happens, but that's not just on the right. That's everywhere. All these people are going to be doing more and more political action in the real world until it manifests, and and then they all fight, and they kill the center, and then they kill each other, and then we'll see who wins, and whoever wins, I'll just be that.
I watched the community video that you did about 5 months ago, and it was interesting because it did feel like there's moments of you being slightly more serious. And I watched that and chased it with the irony poisoning video. So I understand the community kick. Are you getting messages from people? It sounds like that are telling you that I don't have a community. I'm disconnected with family. I don't really have friends. I watch your videos and that's how I relate to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel when someone says that?
I feel loser alerts. I feel, I guess, I don't know. I think there was probably some pipeline of people messaging me. I'm in a narco Nazbol to go instead now saying, I don't have any friends. But you know what? If you can find some anarcho Nazbol friends, good on you. That's what I did. Everyone here in my studio is in a narco Nazbol.
In a narco Nazbol.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, when you're meeting people and you're talking about forming community, that's a very serious conversation. And there is something about the balkanization of us in the internet. And you constantly hear people use the term echo chamber. I don't necessarily like the term echo chamber anymore. I like the term mirror. We are all the evil princess that asks the mirror how beautiful we are, how wonderful we are, how funny we are, how interesting we are. But sometimes we do need some sort of real human contact, and you were talking about doing live shows, so I'm sure you're actually meeting people in real spaces. What's usually the first thing that people say to you outside of, oh, I thought you'd be shorter, or like seriously, what's the first like real thing that you guys are connecting on when you meet these people?
I don't know. Sometimes it's pretty different for each person. Sometimes they're like, this video helped me. Like one of the pieces of art I've made, they connect with it. There's a few videos specifically.
Visual art, or you mean like the video essays you do?
Like video essays. So like sometimes it's a song I did. Sometimes it's like a video essay. Like I have one on depression. People seem to bring up to me in person a lot. The community stuff, people say like, oh, I saw your video on community and I made an effort to get more involved with my local community or something. And one guy yesterday or 2 days ago, I met him outside of a live show one of my friends was doing. And they were like, I started volunteering at a soup kitchen to try to meet people and to give back to my local community, yada, yada. I get lots of messages from lots of people about the community stuff. I get messages about, I did an episode where I filmed a manic episode I had, and the people talked to me a lot about that. So yeah, I don't know.
You talked about a manic episode that you had.
No, I was manic. I filmed
myself. You were going through an episode and you filmed it.
Yeah.
Kind of accidentally.
No, I intentionally did it because I have them once every like 2 or 3 months, and I was like, man, this would be good content. I should put this on my YouTube channel. And then I reacted to it when I was depressed. Yeah.
Jesus. I've never wanted to hug a person more in my life.
I would accept that hug with open arms.
I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being extremely
Me neither.
serious.
I just have this inflection to my voice I can't get rid of. But unfortunately, I'm talking to you through a screen, and I'm cooked yet again by the screen.
When you have that, when that wall is broken and people are walking up to you and they're seeing you as who you quote unquote really are, right? And we won't divulge real names here. Does a wall come down for you, or does a wall come up for you because now it's real?
I don't know. Sometimes someone walks up to me and they're like, I knew it. You're an X. You're like, you're my political ideology, or you have my mental illness, or whatever political label or whatever identity label. They're like, are you this? And I just say, yeah, because that's kind of what they want to hear. So I give them one of those. So I guess that might be an example of a wall going up, but I don't know. I feel like I think I am the wall. I think my eyes are peeking. The walls have eyes, and they're my eyes. And
Okay.
behind the wall, there's just the other end of the wall. It's just like it's like a world circle, and you go in, and you expect to see me in there, but where am I? No, I am just the wall.
Okay.
I'm like Wall-E.
Well, Wall-E had feelings. Now, I'm sure when you're meeting people, and if they're saying these things like, I did this because of your video, and this helped me through this point, that's an emotional. It takes a lot for people to say that to someone like yourself. And I know the very rare. I live somewhere where no one knows what I do. I rarely go back to where I'm from, where people might recognize me. And when I am there, I'm just with my family, my kids, and then I drive back my 1,200 kilometers or whatever it is, back to Mexico where I live. So I never get recognized like some of my other friends in this industry, and I'm fine with that. That being said, when I do live shows, people do come up to me and say certain things like that, and it definitely F's with me a little bit because I don't know the reach I have because I'm not seeing you. To your point about the screen, right? We don't see if people are crying when we're doing a video. And in real life, if we saw that, we'd maybe give them a hug or something like that. So when you're having these moments where I'm sure there's people that probably have shed some tears in front of you. Is that hard for you to handle? Or is it the flip side for you because you're so sarcastic? Are people maybe almost mean to you when they meet you?
No one's mean. No one's ever
Okay.
been. No
Good.
one's ever mean.
Good.
People are nice when I meet them, and I just try to have I kind of converse with them how I converse with anybody,
Mhm.
mostly. If someone's like, how do I react to someone like having an emotional reaction to me?
Yeah.
Okay, at that live show I was at, there was a guy there who had been a part of my community, and it was clearly actually like a dark time for him, and he was
Mhm.
just muttering under his breath. Something he was like he was basically saying like he joined my community like years and years ago. By again, my community is my subreddit. Nah, that's not a community.
Okay, no, I get it.
And I don't know. Clearly he had a bad time, and he seemed like he was having a bad time, and then I got bored talking to him, and I started talking to someone else. And that's just how human relationships work. Okay, I don't owe anybody anything. It's
Okay.
fine if you cry in front of me, and I feel like it works. It feels like I should do something about that. Most of the time, people just walk up to me and they have a normal conversation with me. But I get that when you're interacting with someone and you get whatever you want out of it. It says more about the person interacting with you than it does about them. I don't know. I didn't really know what to say in that moment. I was like, I was like, actually, no. He said, I was in your community and it was a dark time. And I said, I can tell. Because I looked at him and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Physiognomy. I checked the physiognomy.
I mean, a lot of your a lot of your stuff to me, I shouldn't say a lot. The stuff that I've seen, you've put out a lot of videos in the time that you've been putting out videos. I will be lying to you if I said I've watched them all. But from what I saw, it does seem like you're trying to speak to people, because I'll be, as my co-host says, I'll be completely transparent. When I write music, it comes from a dark place. I'm not a happy person. I live alone. I live almost 1,000 miles away from my family and my kids. Sometimes I feel like I'm in exile. I exist in a screen for people, and we have great fun. And when I turn everything off, it's like I've also turned the world off to some extent, right? So when I create music, which isn't as much as I used to, of course, because I do this show, it doesn't come from the happiest place, right? So I know that I feel very confident that when you're probably doing some of the work, you look back and like, that was a really good video. It's probably not coming from the happiest place.
Yeah.
And when you put that out, there's a catharsis to putting that out. When it does well, that adds to that that catharsis. That being said, maybe you don't read the comments, maybe you do. Maybe the comments have no effect on how that feels. But when you're actually meeting people that talk about that video that came from a dark place, and they're like, dude, thank you so much. This helped me understand the way I'm feeling. This helped me reconnect with my my family. Does that mess with the way that you, because it has to make you feel good.
I think if you let it make you feel good, you can also let it make you feel bad when some freaking schizo watches the same thing and is like, wow, that thing you made in a dark place has encouraged me to kill my family. And then you're like, am I responsible for that? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm responsible for that? I don't think so. You go kill your family, but leave me out of this.
You know, okay. I had a friend who was in a pretty well-known band for a while, and he had got off social media. And this is back when I think Facebook had first started. This is years ago. And I was like, dude, why are you off social media? It's this new thing. It's so much fun. He goes, dude, I get messages all the time from kids, and they're not messages you think I get. And I don't want to miss a message with someone says, I just came out to my parents and I'm feeling suicidal and I need you to respond or I'm going to kill myself. And he's like, I don't want to be responsible for that. So I'm just not on social media. I'm sure you get something, maybe not those exact lines, but along those lines. How do you deal with that? And as your reputation is growing, right? You're going to get more of this. How does that affect you when you're trying to
so let's say I get 10 Instagram DM requests from suicidal children. This is what I do. Accept, do it, next. Accept, do it, next. Accept, do it, next. That's a joke. I actually basically I say, get your parents' credit card information ASAP. Send me all of the money they have, then do it. No, that's also a joke. Mostly I don't have that many suicidal children in my DMs. There's obviously people who need help in some way. There's lots of schizos in my DMs. Some of the schizos I just listen to, and that's the most useful thing because no one fucking wants to listen to them. They're insane. But I like listening to insane people, so I'll listen to insane people. And sometimes I just appreciate someone listening to them. And then I don't know if someone really, there's plenty of times someone like just DMs me and I just don't respond and I don't feel any. Actually, you know what? I got a message today of someone being like, hey man, been watching you for a long time. I'm behind on rent today and I really need some help. And I just don't respond. It's just like, I don't care. I don't care. You know, I care very deeply. This makes me sound like a sociopath, but actually what's happening here, I don't really, this is a screen. I got to have some delineation between this and my real world or I'll become psychotic. So I have actual friends who are in my flesh space situation and I hang out with them and I love them so much and I would die for them and I would do anything for them. And that's where my empathy goes. Really. It's the people around me. My community is what I care about. And it's not like I don't care about these broader things or these random people in my DMs, but it's just like, I'm a guy. I'm just a fella. I can't fix the world. But maybe that's the problem. And maybe if we all started messaging the kids in our DMs saying, I'm here for you. Oh, canceled. Cancel. Why? Because I tried to talk to a minor. Yeah, I tried to talk to a minor. But that minor needed help. And the help that I gave him was offering him to stay at my place for 2 weeks. Okay, that's end of my monologue.
You Boy Georged him, huh?
Yeah, done with the monologue.
Don't Boy George anybody. Google who Boy George is, by the way.
Okay, yeah, I need some Gen X lore here.
We'll have to, all of my references you'll have to Google.
Singer of Jesus Loves You. Oh, I already know where this is going. Yeah.
Someone wrote Jesus Loves You in the comment?
No, I'm just I looked up Boy George and it said yeah, I know where I don't have to read anymore. I know where
5
that's going.
Died at Boy George's house over the years, to the point where the police were like, something's fishy going on in Boy George's castle. He's British.
Really,
But
really putting the boy in. Whatever.
you know, I don't know what kind of music you like, but I am a fan of Culture Club. I think Boy George and Culture Club were pretty damn cool. And let's end with this. Are there any new topics or formats you're excited to explore in your future work? And how do you see your videos evolving, or even what you do evolving in the next few years, especially given, to your point, the rapidly changing landscape of media? So if you can survive the 2-year I hate you after 2 years, and you get to the 1,000,000 subscribers and you get the gold plaque on the wall, there's a different change, you get a different split in the in the YouTube payout. Bills are paid a little bit better. Are there any new avenues you'd like to explore? Would you try to make like more sketch kind of videos?
Here's how I see my videos evolving. Okay, they're
Mhm.
gonna devolve. We talked about how much work it is to make a video. I know
Mhm.
drama YouTubers that crank out shitty slop content about Boogie 2988, Mr. Beast, Doctor Disrespect, all these characters that exist in my head now for some reason because these slop content churners are cranking them out. They film themselves shooting people in Fortnite and then they yap over it for 15 minutes, and that's a 200,000 view video. I could
Yeah.
spend weeks doing something for half of that. So I'm going to devolve. It's going to get worse and worse for me. The actual more hopeful answer is I've been taken by doing animation, working with
Okay.
animators, working with different kinds of artists. I hope to keep working and meeting new artists. And I released an album, and I'm working on getting different animators for each song in that album so I can release the whole album with different art styles on each one. That sounds exciting to me. Also, more live shows and experimenting with the live show format, seeing what I can do live in person. That's very exciting for me as well.
If you had it your way, and instead of doing one live show a month or 4 live shows a month compared to 20 videos a month,
Yeah.
if you could do 15 live shows and 1 video a month, is that your dream scenario?
That would be nice. That would be cool. Yeah.
A lot less work. You can have really cool animation,
Yeah. I would
Pixar level.
I would even do more work on the live shows. I don't do that much work really in terms of these videos. I don't do a lot of work because I'm thinking about doing work. That's most of my life. It's just like I should really do some work. And then I that's part of the work, I guess, but it's like it's really just like the gears. I would be more excited to do more work on live shows. When I have a live show coming up, I just like single-mindedly focus on that. So I
Mhm.
would like to do that more. I think 15 live shows. I would do 4 live shows a month, and I would do like 2 videos a month. And that's probably a good ideal for me. And then that gives me time to hang out with my homies, my buddies, my pals, my
Would
friends.
you not stream the live show and be one of those things like, "Hey, if you're here, you see it. If not, you don't see it."
I'm a little conflicted on that front because I like spiritually, I guess, the idea of the live show being an experience you can only have in person.
Yeah.
And not even trying, but I would make more money if I sold like VOD tickets or something. So maybe the market will demand it, but for now I'm just doing it like the live show is you can only see it in live basically.
That's dope. That's dope. I love that model. There's something to be said about, you just got to be here. You just got to
Yeah.
be here. I know you can't be here because you watch me in Uzbekistan, but
Yeah.
maybe I'll make my way out to Uzbekistan.
Yeah. Or stop being a brokey in Uzbekistan and fly over to Toronto, huh?
Stop being all broke. We do have a couple super chat questions. One of our consistent commenters, Dizzle
Great
McFizzle,
question.
says, what's Dreg's opinion on the hose? Loyal, not loyal, explain or not? And I will preface this by saying this has become, I don't know how it started on this show. I haven't asked any question about the loyalty of said
No, this is
hose.
an awesome question. This is exactly what I
Go ahead.
wanted to answer.
Okay.
I started off by thinking hose loyal.
Okay.
And this is because I was monogamy brained, right? I thought that I would find the woman of my dreams, the love of my life, and I'd marry her. And then as time went on, that didn't work out, and I had heartbreak, and then I went back to hoes not being loyal, and I was polyamorous, but only in that sociopathic way where you're just amassing concubines, and then I found the love of my life again,
Mm-hmm.
and that was only a few months ago.
Okay.
And I rediscovered my love of monogamy, and I thought hoes actually are loyal. And that's the end of the story. Just kidding. She left me a month ago. Now hoes are no longer loyal. I'm on my hoes ain't loyal arc. And let me tell you, I'm tired of this roller coaster. I want to get off. I'm getting nauseous. I wish it stayed there. I wish it stayed at that last part, but now I regression to the mean, I guess. That's life.
I have to ask you the uncomfortable question now, since you claim you're an open book. How do you handle relationships being an internet personality? Would you keep your partner, person you're seeing, kind of like no one knows? You wouldn't talk about it? Would you let this person be a part of your internet life? Or would you be super secretive about it?
Basically, the best that my strategy for dating on the internet is I go through my Instagram DMs and I find whatever chick is looking youngest, and I say, never mind, I don't want to continue this joke.
You know what? It sounds funny in your head.
Yeah,
until,
no, I don't have
until you get that knock at the, yeah.
I don't have the desire to execute on this one.
Don't.
Okay, what do I actually do? I've dated people who are off the internet and who have no internet presence, and that's been fine. And I've dated people who have internet presence, and that's been fine too. And I'm actually now at this phase of my life, because I am so internet brained, and so much of my life revolves around what I'm doing for money, that I tend to date people who are also internet people, like on the same level as me, peers of mine. It makes the power dynamic thing not a problem, and I just have more to relate to them about.
Interesting. To me, it's interesting that there's that many women in your side of the internet. Because over here, there's like 4.
Yeah. No, it's they exist. They're around. They're a minority though.
Yeah. I feel like there's more that do what you do, like video essays and like the shorter 20-minute, not as much live streaming stuff.
Yeah.
And then we have another super chat question here from another commenter. Where does Jreg stand on carrot raisin salad? So I will preface this by saying I make for myself, not for anyone else, carrot raisin salad. People that watch this show think that I'm a sick person for liking carrots, raisins, and mayonnaise all in one place. Yeah, he's Googling it. He's Googling it because he doesn't know carrot raisin salad.
No. I'm Googling it because there's this esoteric health guy that says to eat carrot salad. And his name is Dr. Ray Pete. Okay. And this is a diet I've been thinking of trying. And it's very esoteric. He basically says you should eat stuff from the ground immediately, as quickly from the ground as you can. So carrots are a big part of that. And yeah, he's got this diet it's really interesting. It's like carrots and apple cider vinegar and
oh yeah, anyone that says all that goofy shit, I stop listening.
Yeah, but I love extreme diets in the same way I love extreme ideologies, and I've actually tried every extreme diet at this point. I've tried carnivore, I've tried raw vegan, I tried only drinking Soylent, I tried vegetarian. So I've been around the block. Did all processed food. So Ray Pete, I've been thinking about that as well.
I can't believe you guys asked this kid about hoes and carrot raisin salad. You guys are fucked up.
It's a good spread.
You guys are fucked up. Well, what do you have planned in the future? When's the next video coming out?
I should have a video about the Jamal Bowman canvassing
really?
in a couple of days. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were you recording it at the same time?
They were recording it for their social media purposes. So I've taken some of the stuff that I've said there, where they would be like, AIPAC is bad. And I would say, I agree, Israel's influence needs to be stopped. And they all get uncomfortable. And then, so I have clips like that.
Well, look, thank you for taking the time to speak with me. I know you say there's some things that you need to do this evening. That's why we couldn't do it at the regular show time. I definitely wanted to do this live so people could interact with you live. I hope you had a good time speaking with me.
I had a great time. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone who came out.
Thanks. I will be back tomorrow night with the Red Zone Sports Show. Mac and I will be talking about NFL preseason, and then we're probably going to go off the rails, make a bunch of dick jokes. On that note, we are out.